So, managing a transitional housing facility is rewarding, but without the right tools and systems, it can be extremely overwhelming. This brand new series I've created is designed to help you streamline your operations, reduce your stress, and maximize your impact by using the right technology, resources, and strategies. And in today's episode, we're going to specifically look at ways that you can make it easier for you to have your systems in place. So we're going to talk about why you need a system. So let's jump right in. Now, transitional housing is so rewarding on so many levels, but if I don't say anything else, I always stress you must have systems, systems, systems. That is the biggest problem that most people who have housing programs face. They don't have the right systems in place. So they have records that are mismanaged. They can't find the documents. They got all these papers, which I can't stand paper. I'm just telling you. I like everything electronic. So all of these things, they can't keep track of who's paid what. Like, it just goes crazy. And when you have systems that are not in place, you will tend to have a higher rate of staff that is going to turn over because you need systems to make it work. So when you have a well-structured system in place, it makes everything run smoother so you don't have to do all the work. Now, how I have learned to manage over the years, I have found that when my programs are automated and they're systematized, I have a better success rate also with my residents. So I want to let you know, if you don't have these things in place, I want to encourage you to put them in place, because without having proper management of these documents, you are going to not only fail your program, you're going to fail the residents who are in your program. So please try to stay on top of those things to get it done. Now, that's why you need it. So now let's talk about what you need to have to make life easier. So first and foremost, you must have a way in which you can bring residents in and intake their information. Now, I do know there's a lot of case management tools out there that a lot of people love using, of which, I've used them before just because I have ran I ran a shelter for a period of time, so I understood their process. But I tend to like better systems. Like, I use mostly my property management software because it allows for me to control it the way that I need to control other parts. Now, some property management softwares are better than others. I will recommend one for you in a later episode because I don't want to give any particular names out directly, but this system I have right here does everything and then some, and it's worth its weight in gold. But you have to have a strong system for tracking as individuals are coming in, and something that is customizable to your business. That is what has helped me over the years. Now, there was a time when we actually used to use Google. So if you're not ready for a software program yet, then create something in Google. Google, as well as Microsoft Office or Microsoft 365, have great tools that you can utilize just to keep track of things. And having a system that you can create to manage that work is going to be critical for you going forward. So you'll want to be able to do that. And the thing I love about the property management tools that we use, because there's so many other ones, but if you could find one that does everything, you could kill two birds with one stone. That's what I like about the property management software that I use versus anything else. Now, there are others that are not, as I said, as customizable. That's why I use the one that I use. Now, if you do want to know and you don't want to wait for an episode, go ahead and leave me comments below. I'd love to share with you those details so you can know why I love it the way that I do, and then we'll be able to go from there. But the thing that you're going to love about what you're going to create, the other two I forgot to mention is you need an accounting software. Now, some property management softwares build that into it, but if you plan to grow, I would encourage you to still use something like QuickBooks, because it's not as costly to be able to get in that. And I can also give you a link to that as well, just so we can get you started proper with your documentation. But that is, and it's important to have an accounting software because it allows for you to manage any type of funds that you get or any expenses that are associated with your program, because those things have to be tracked well, and it's critical to your success as you grow. Now, as you have these systems, the reason why it's so amazing to have is it automates the things that you need. So through automation, you're saving time and you're saving money. And at the end of the day, when you're in this business, you want to be able to save some time and money, and to reduce any possibilities that you can control. So automation definitely allows for you to be freer in the things that you need to get done. Also, if there's any issues related to maintenance, they can be addressed pretty simple, because you're going to use an automated system where you got residents who can send you the information versus you trying to chase it down yourself. That type of automation is priceless to you being able to address issues that show up in your property as you are moving forward. Now, the reason why that is so important to be able to have that easy management is for the simplicity of it. The time and the money that you're going to save by doing that is critical to your success. Now, as you build that out, it's important that the tools that you use with your staff are just as good as what you create for the residents. And this is where I spend most of my time managing, because I like to make sure that it is as tight as I can make it. And that is the way in which we communicate. Our messaging platform allows for our team to be able to coordinate, collaborate, deal with manage our issues as soon as they show up. Like, that is how we like to communicate. One of the things that I am now appreciating is the fact that my phone does not ring off the hook as much as it used to. I used to get back-to-back phone calls, whether it was calls from residents, calls from agencies, calls from my staff, and it was constant. So when I was able to implement these few tools, but the Teams was my best of all things I've ever created. Microsoft Teams I use to be able to have communication with my staff and keep them updated. When you have a very strong process in place to communicate with your staff, because they're the ones touching the residents, as the residents are communicating through a property management tool. So now we are able to seamlessly move between dealing with our residents, dealing with our staff, making sure things are communicated. I don't get phone calls, and I love it. Even to this day, it's interesting, just on a personal level. My husband and I, even how we manage our life is done on Microsoft Teams. We have a folder strictly for our family because there's things that we want to document and things that we want to find that is so seamless there. And sometimes we could be in the same room and won't say two words because we're like working, and I'll just text something in Teams and he'll respond back, and we're still just moving. Don't miss a beat. And why do we do that? Because you want to respect people's time, number one. Time is valuable. So imagine if you're in the middle of doing something and the phone rings, and then you hang up, you write it down, you come back, you do it again. You do that enough times, you're going to get tired of picking up that phone. You're going to forget what you were working on. This way, unless it's an emergency, you deal with it whenever you get to it. And that's what I love about using a platform like Microsoft Teams, because it keeps us all on point with what needs to be done with our residents, as well as with our programs, as well as with our agencies. Everything we need to do, we do it through Teams. And that has been a full-time savior for me. But there are other platforms that people may like. I've tried Slack, I've tried GroupMe, I've tried WhatsApp, I've tried a lot of them, but the one that I love the most is Microsoft 365, because it allows for me to have everything that I need all in one place. So when you can do that, and especially, let's say that there's a topic that you dealt with last year that you're like, you know what happened? You can type it, and guess what? You can see a history of everything that was created that you can go back and tap on and make connections. Like that is worth its weight in gold. And it's even to the point where it has become our platform for all of our document storage as well. Where before we were using another system, now we are just simply incorporating everything under one umbrella. So when you do that and you do that well, you are learning how to establish the automation that your business needs, as well as the communication that must happen in order for you to serve your population at the fullest capacity that you can serve at. And that's what I love about using a platform to communicate. Now, there was a time, even, and I'll just throw this out here, we even, when it comes down to when we're working with our residents and we are doing house meetings, we do house meetings from a platform. We use Zoom or some other form of to be able to communicate without having to physically do it, because we actually physically used to go to the buildings. You don't have to do that now. You literally can have everything streamlined there. You can have residents communicating on Teams. Like the extent of which you can utilize your platforms is endless. And that's what I love about having systems in place to be able to manage what we are growing. Because as you have systems, you have something that you can scale, and you want to be able to cut down on the amount of time and money you spend being able to manage, so that you can then work on your business instead of in it, in the details, in the grunt of it. And those things can be managed simply through a system. And even down to the texting system. We have our residents even communicating via text. Now, is it working perfectly? No. We have to constantly reinforce. But the goal is, unless it's an emergency, if the place is on fire and water is shooting out of a pipe, those are the top two emergencies that I see. If that's an emergency, call us on the phone for that. The phone calls are reserved for those who really need it. But if it's just something you need to tell us, you're going to use a texting system, and you're going to communicate that. We're going to communicate back with you. So everything that you have is documented, and that is critical. So as you think about this particular segment, or this part of this series I'm creating, you need to understand how important these tools are for your success. This is just one of several, and I've got 8 more that I'm going to share with you in this 9-part series, talking about how you can create and utilize systems to effectively manage your transitional housing facility. So stay tuned for the next episode, and I look forward to you being a part of us as we grow as compassionate investors in this space.